Hey guys, it's Jolene from Smith's Nature Friendly Farms. We are hanging out in the kitchen today, but we are actually not doing anything kitchen related. We are planting our moringa seeds and we're going to test 4 different ways of germinating these moringa seeds. Let's take a look. All right guys, normally I don't do my gardening in the kitchen, but because we are germinating some seeds and we're using a soak process for most of them, we did start this process out in the actual kitchen. So I'm going to show you guys what we're testing out. We've got 4 different ways of germinating moringa seeds, but we're going to germinate these seeds through 4 different methods and see which one perhaps germinates better than the rest, or if they all germinate the same and which ones might actually save you more time. All right, so if you watched my other video recently that was on our Baker Creek seed haul, this is what we managed to pick up was our dwarf moringa seeds, and that's what we're planting today. This is what a dwarf moringa seed kind of looks like. It's kind of got a neat feathery wrapper to it kind of on all sides. It looks like it's a hard shell, but it actually really isn't. It's actually quite easily nicked. That's part of our process for one of the ways that we'll be trialing the germination. But it is a hardy seed, but it's not so hard that it's not easy enough to get into. This is what the actual inside of one of those seeds looks like. So I nicked one of the seeds. I got into it a little too far. You can see I think I've cut into the actual seed. So this one might not germinate simply because I ruined the seed, but we've got it started. We'll put it in there anyways. If that ruins our trial data, then so be it. We'll note that one. Okay, so I've done a fair bit of research about how to germinate the moringa seeds. There's a lot of different videos out there and a lot of different methods. Okay, so the first one is simply a no-soak method. This is my common garden practice. I don't typically soak my seeds, hence why sometimes some of my seeds don't turn out. Soaking them can definitely help your germination rate. So we are going to use this. This will be our starting method to check to see if we can still germinate moringa seeds without a whole lot of soaking. So the next method we're trialing is a nicked seed with a 2-hour soak. This one in particular, we have the one in here that I've flawed that may not work in general. So if this ends up with 2 germinating out of 3, we're going to make the assumption that it probably would have been just fine. But if maybe that one will still germinate, I don't totally know. But this process is basically taking a corner of the seed, cutting it with a knife, and allowing more moisture to get in towards the center of the seed. So what's going to happen is this piece on the inside is actually what's supposed to germinate. This is the outer shell, and we've put a little nick inside the shell. Our next method is a 2-hour soak with no nick. So we are just essentially dropping 3 seeds into the water and letting them soak for only 2 hours. And our final method is a no-nicked seed for 24 hours. So essentially we are taking 3 seeds, tossing them in the water for 24 hours, and that is it. So we have 12 seeds in total that we're going to drop into these guys here. I pre-moistened them. One gentleman suggested that you do not moisten afterwards as they tend to float up, which made kind of good sense to me. So we pre-moistened the soil. We are using a regular ProMix soil, so nothing overly special. It is what you get at your nursery center. It's got a little bit of perlite in there, and they can see some wood chips and stuff like that. Some people do talk about using coconut husks. I didn't have that, so I'm not going with that. I've seen plenty of videos that said just regular soil was fine, so that's what we're going with today. So this is our nicked row in here, nicked for 2 hours and soaked for 2 hours. This last one on the end closest to this is the seed that had the full removal from the shell. Okay, our last one's in, no soak. We're just going to gently cover them up. And that's it. All right, guys, it's been 13 days since we planted our moringa seeds, and I thought we would check out, let's find out who the front runner was and see how we're doing so far with the germination. So in the 13 days, we for sure do have a front runner, and surprisingly, it came out of the no soak group. In fact, the no soak group so far already has 100% germination. What's also interesting is the nicked 2 hours has 0 germination so far. While the 24 hours with no nick, we have 2 so far germinating, and the 2 hours no nick, I have 1. So I think we're going to give it a couple more days for sure, because typically it says it takes about 14 days for them to germinate. It's been really cold here, so I don't know that they've had enough heat. So we should still see some germination come out of them. But I am very fascinated by the fact that the nick seed is performing right now the worst. All right, guys, after 16 days, we have a clear set of winners for the germination of our Moringa seeds. Let's check it out. So both of our soaking methods worked just fine. So whether you had a 24-hour soak or a 2-hour soak, both achieved 100% germination. So that's great if you like soaking your seeds. Now, the clear winner is the no soak. So the no soak absolutely had 100% germination and also was the absolute first one to come out with germination overall. So for me, that's just a clear sign that these are unnecessary steps in order to achieve germination, because it's all about in your gardens managing your time. And if you're doing unnecessary things, these are systems that are wasting your time. No point in doing it. So that one for sure, to me, the no soak, just planted in the ground, worked just perfectly fine. Now, what was very fascinating was the nicked. The nicked seed had 0 germination. So you can see everything else is 100%, but when you nick the seed, it actually can impact the ability to germinate. Now, perhaps I nicked it wrong. Maybe I screwed up the seed in the process. I'm not 100% sure. All I know is it's very clear to me it's an unnecessary step. It obviously can impact your germination, and it's just a waste of time. So I would not generally nick my seeds. Well, guys, that's it for our Moringa germination. We hope you find that information helpful. Obviously, don't waste your time with unnecessary steps. Do what's simple and do what you like in general. Maybe you're a fan of soaking your seeds, and that's no problem as well. Just maybe don't nick them. Other than that, the usual, you guys, be friendly, be kind.